What's up, guys, and welcome back to another episode of the Cervantes Podcast. Joining me today to discuss their job at the National Basketball Association, advice for people who want to work in sports, and their thoughts on the NBA playoffs so far is Montclair State University graduate with a bachelor's degree in television and digital media, and NBA production assistant and GDC operator Dana Fields and Norfolk State University graduate with a bachelor's degree in mass communication and general broadcast and NBA production assistant and GDC operator Morgan Sheares. How are you doing today, ladies?
Wonderful. Okay, introduction.
I
Yes,
know, I
of
feel so
course.
special.
Of course. Thank you for
Thank you
being
for
here.
having us.
Yes.
Let's get started. So the first question, did you ladies always know you wanted to pursue a career in television production and media?
I did. Shout out to 106 in Park, okay, y'all. When I was a little girl, I remember like being infatuated with shows like 106 in Park, like television. Like I was just like, I have to be a part of this. It was just always the atmosphere in the community for me. And I'm like, everybody just looks so happy. And you could tell people love what they were doing. I'm like, I want to be that. Yes.
Yeah, we all grew up watching that like right after
Yeah.
school. Yep,
Yes.
I
Right
remember
at
that.
6 o'clock.
Yeah. What about you, Dana?
For me, I've always wanted to work in TV, but I've always wanted to be in front of the camera. So I would take like acting classes and be in theater and stuff. And it wasn't until high school where I took my first video production class that I was like, huh, I actually really enjoy this and I could see myself pursuing it.
That's so cool. I think for me, I always loved watching TV, watching interviews. I always liked watching like when they would do the behind the scenes of a movie
Hmm.
or a TV show. I
Mm,
always loved
yeah.
that. But I never knew I wanted to work in that until college. And I was like, wait, I actually don't want to be a doctor. I think I want to be a producer one day. I had a
Yeah.
whole
Like
major switch.
when when I was in high school, like I was always like joining the theater club, and then they would never give me the video production class, no matter how many times I requested it, because there was a popular class. So I didn't really get that until my senior year. So like leading up to my senior year, I was just kind of like, I want to do TV production. Like something in me was saying, I want to do the class. I want to take the
Mhm.
class. So like my parents took me to 30 Rock and we did like one of those 30 Rockefeller tours where they
Yes.
take you like around to like all the sets and stuff, like a private like tour of like 10 people. And I was just like, oh my gosh, this is so cool. I hope I work there one day. And then fast forward 5 years later, I'm there working there and meeting you.
Me, Jalen, Jared, shout out to
Yeah.
Daniela. Yes, that's so great.
Morgan
I love
Porter.
that. I love that. I wish I toured studios. That's so smart. I love that. Did sports play a big role in your family?
Yes. I grew up playing a lot of sports. My dad is a big sports fan, specifically basketball and football mainly. But my grandfather, he used to play football, and there's just athletes all in the family. My cousins, my aunts and uncles. But for me, I did like soccer, softball, karate, dance, basketball, volleyball.
Oh, you were playing all the sports.
So like I've been around. My least favorite was track. Just had to catch my
Yeah,
breath.
track is tough. What about you, Morgan?
Oh, for sure. My dad actually is still a basketball coach to this day. So I
Wow.
remember being around him with his basketball team. He had like an AAU team called Brooklyn Ballers. So I was always
No
around the
way.
crowd of that. And then my brothers played sports. One of them like basketball and football. And then I even played basketball for a short period of time. And I too actually ran track. That's so funny. She said like I did not like track. I actually did, but after a while, I was like, okay, I'm good. But for sure,
Yeah.
it's all over. Everybody in my family has like an athletic bone in their body, for
I
sure.
love that. I'm not an athletic person per se, but I definitely played all the sports. I think I played every sport except for like I should say I tried every sport except for like hockey, I think. But yeah, sports are definitely big in my family. Basketball, baseball, and I'd say football for sure.
Football, yes.
Who were some of your favorite players and teams growing up?
Well, I live in a mixed household. Just putting that
Okay,
out there. So
same, same.
I'm
We all
loyal to
do.
the orange and blue. But one of my favorite players though always has been Carmelo Anthony. And then no shade, y'all. I just said the Knicks, but I don't know what it was. When I was younger, 2K was a big thing, right? And I
Yes.
remember being around my brother, and he will always be playing 2K, like specifically the 2008 one. And I just was obsessed with the Celtics team at that time, though. Like the Ron Rondo, Ray Allen, Kevin Garnett. I don't know, like their how they played. It was just so like wow, like they get it. But
And I guess how they were featured in the game
and how
also
they were featured in the
determined your
game, I was
favorite
just like,
player.
oh wow, like I remember that was like something always in my head. Like I like the Celtics 2008 specifically around that time, but Knicks, no, for sure.
Yeah, let's
Yeah.
go Knicks. Let's go Knicks. Yeah, what about you, Dana?
I didn't actually like watch basketball probably like until like I was in high school. I played it in middle school, I but I feel like I've consumed basketball more now than I ever have in my childhood. But I did grow up in a Knicks household, and if I did watch any basketball, it would actually be more of like Steph Curry, because my dad's also a big Golden State Warriors fan. If the Knicks don't win, the Warriors win, he's happy, he's satisfied.
There's always a backup team.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like we like the Knicks, we like the Yankees, but then we
Next.
also really like LeBron
Mhm.
or like Kobe
Right.
for a time. Okay, so being that sports was a big role in your household, it makes sense now that you guys work at the NBA. How did you land your current role at the NBA? And did you always know you wanted to work for an organization like that?
My mother worked at the NBA 20 years ago with Mark Tatum. She was in international finance, so she was working the same halls that I'm walking now. So like I always knew it was a good place to work just because she always seemed so happy to work there. Um, but it was never a part of my plan. It not because of me like whether or not like liking the company. I think I just always imagined my life going in like a certain like direction, and when things don't play out the way that you expect them to, you always like, keep your mind open to like other opportunities. So when I was looking for jobs, my mom really recommended the NBA for me to apply. So I saw an opening for a production assistant role on LinkedIn. I applied, had a referral, and they told me that the job position was already filled, but that there was another position that they were hiring for, and our manager was the one that was talking to her um, about that. So I was able to worm my way in through that, thanks to LinkedIn and a referral. And yeah, and now I'm here, and it's one of the most steadiest. It's the most steady job I've had in a long time, so I'm really grateful.
I really like that. And I think that's amazing because it's like you're entering a new space. Because
Hmm.
to my knowledge, this is your first time working in sports. So that's like
Hmm.
a new
Yeah.
field. But it's you kind of almost have your mom and all these incredible friends like Morgan and everybody else to like kind of guide you through it or talk to other people who've also worked in sports. So I think that's awesome. And I think LinkedIn is also a great way to find jobs. That's how I
Hmm.
find a lot of jobs.
And
LinkedIn,
recruiters.
Facebook groups.
Recruit, yeah.
And recruiters. I think it was very surprising for me because I mean it just goes to show that like, you know, life opens another door. I guess to not be so closed off to different opportunities because you don't know where they're going to lead, and you don't know, you don't even know if it could potentially be something that is really good for you. And now I just feel like I'm like, oh my gosh, like I'm reigniting my love for basketball because I haven't played since middle school. So um I have never consumed more basketball in my life.
Right, because it's like, okay, I'm working here, so I gotta watch the games,
It's
I gotta
only
Yeah.
right.
understand the games.
Mhm.
You gotta understand the games to do your job. What
Mhm.
about you, Morgan?
Yeah, just to piggyback off Dana, I think to sum it up, it's just like, as you know, it's not always what you know, but who you know. So that was like my story. After a whole bunch of no's, because I've been applied to that NBA, let me tell you. Especially coming out of college, it was like I remember being like, I can't land a job in my field. What is going on? And then so when my good friend, who also works with us, his name is Amir, we went to Norfolk State together. So he landed the job in about April of last year. He just celebrated his 1 year anniversary. So when they were hiring, like opening up applications, he was like, oh my God, like they're taking applications. So I was like, okay, bet. Let me apply. He gave the referral and then boom. So shout out to Amir for real. It's always like, and that's always good to like have good people who put your name out there in spaces when you're not even there and everything, because it will take you to places you never thought you
Mhm.
could.
Yes,
Mhm.
I totally agree. I think it's really about who I feel like our field, it's like who you know and your
It is.
experience. I don't
Mm-hmm.
know about other fields. Like, I don't know, like to be a lawyer, like you may actually need to just earn it, and it's maybe about grades and GPA. But for us, I
Hmm.
think it's like it's a family friend, it's someone online that you reach out to.
Hmm.
So I think that's good advice for people listening who are in high school, in college, who are like, how do I get this job? I'm trying to work at
Yes.
NBC, or I'm trying to work at, MLB, NFL, or
Yeah.
NBA. This is good advice for sure. And I think in my experience, yeah, it was a family friend that helped me get the job at ABC. So
Hmm.
there you go. So yeah, I totally agree with that.
And then definitely persistence. Everybody like
Hmm.
have persistence,
Absolutely.
not get turned away from a no. Like a lot of no's will always be a yes somewhere else. So
Hmm.
Yes,
It's
just because
very,
you didn't get
it's
into
very
this
easy.
job, you could get this job
mm-hmm.
and change your
It's,
resume around.
yeah.
Submit cover letters. And don't be afraid to branch out. I know people who work in TV, but now they're working in film, or
Mm-hmm.
they really want to do a daytime talk show, but now they're working in sports. So you can always pivot. What does GDC stand for, and what does your role entail?
So GDC, that means Distribution Center. So most recently, we're under the broadcasting department now. But our job really entails providing the live feeds for people to come back to watch on League Pass, so the NBA app. So a regular day for us, we're basically getting these game rundowns from our content curation team, and then we'll start through the game rundowns. We're providing what's happening in the arena, and then we'll have content videos for the team specific like videos, and we'll put that on our rundown. So, and it's always like with recent videos, of course, because fans want to see stuff that's recently happened. And then we're also just working on two feeds. So we have a continuous feed and a studio feed for our studio shows. So we're taking press conferences as well. All while working behind the scenes. Let me say that, because a lot of people think, "Do you
Hmm.
work on site?" And I'm like, "No, we're working to that." We're
Right,
getting
right.
there.
That's what I
But
used to
we
think.
are right. But we are
Hmm.
behind the scenes making it all happen, and also working alongside with engineers, because they are a big help when stuff is
Yeah.
going wrong with our sounds, with glitches in the like the feeds. I'm like, hey,
Yeah.
come over here.
Right, you
But
gotta
yeah,
fix
that's pretty
this.
much
It's
it.
live.
For anyone that was like curious, like the format of like a rundown, it's kind of like a script, but it's in a Google like sheet form, like an
Except
Excel,
yes.
Microsoft Excel sheet type of format where so that we were able to keep it organized. And then like when we're actually going in and out of the broadcast, we're kind of acting like our own technical director, which is pretty cool, getting to push the buttons and make the call of to putting which content in which commercial break, based on how the game is going. And obviously if it's team specific as well. Because there's two people on each game, one for the home team and one for the away team. So whoever's on like the away team is definitely gonna
Mm-hmm.
have like more content lined up. Like if it's like Miami versus New York, they're gonna have a bunch of Miami Heat content prepared to air.
Yes.
That's so cool. That's so cool. Like working in live sports. Yeah, did you want
I
to
was
add
also
something?
just gonna say, and it's W games too. Some people think it's just
Mhm.
like limited to NBA. We also have like the WNBA games as well.
Oh, I didn't
And
know
Yeah,
Africa,
that.
and Africa,
in
but we didn't,
Africa,
but we didn't get there
hello.
yet. But some people are doing it already.
That's
Yes,
really cool.
because
That's really
NBA has
cool.
like a bunch of other people that watch, so it's like it's not limited to just the U.S. teams. So
Mhm.
that's yeah.
I didn't even
And they're
think about that. That's so cool.
and they're working on the software where you could work the African League games from home.
From home.
Like
Yes,
they're in the process.
we do have content shifts too. We are a
We do
hybrid
have content
role.
shifts.
So we're
Yes.
not
Oh,
always in the
okay.
office. So the times we're in the office, I'm out the office. They encourage us to look on our NBA websites and everything to find new videos to like bring up top content curation.
Hmm.
So
That's
yeah,
so cool. And
It's
it's like you guys are working with the app that people are watching at home and trying to make that a fun experience for viewers at
yeah,
home
yeah,
and give
mhm.
them a different experience than what people are getting in the stadium in person.
Yeah.
That's
right.
really cool.
Yeah, something that I really like about our department is the fact that they're opening up other opportunities as well. Like, working the streams is also great, but I think there are opportunities to kind of expand on that and maybe edit a video here, work on some
Oh
graphics
yeah.
there. So like they're really making it a well-rounded role, I think.
Are you guys interested in editing and adding or learning a different role or skill?
I would be personally. Like for me, like I just wanted to really concentrate on the current role and getting set in that, so then I could
Before you add
move on
other
to
stuff.
something else. Yeah, that's just
Yeah,
how
I
I
feel like
work.
I'm always like trying to learn something new. So definitely open to that for sure.
Right, you always want to add more stuff to your tool
Mm-hmm.
belt. I get that.
Exactly.
Working in live production is not easy. I'm working in live news, you guys work in live sports. What would you say is the most challenging, and what's your favorite part about working for the NBA and your role?
It's not super challenging anymore, but it was definitely an adjustment for me because I'm someone who's used to working during the day. So like when you're working that job and you're working in basketball, you are working when the game is on. So like at least for us, our department. So like we're not in like a corporate role because we're in the entertainment um uh subgroup, I guess. It's kind of more like working like nights. So like we could work anytime between on a regular and during the regular season, like 2 p.m. to like 2 a.m.
Wow.
easily. Like we could work because we're also taking the press conferences as well. So we're taking the game, we're taking the studio show, pre and post. And then we're also taking the press conference. And sometimes players do take like a second to like come out, you know, depending, especially if it's a West Coast game, those games tend to run typically a little late. So like I think for me, staying up that late was definitely an adjustment for me. My favorite part is the people. I am a big people person. I love a work environment, especially if you're spending a lot of time with these people. Um, there's a lot of personalities that could clash. There's 45 operators in there with us. So
Wow.
a lot of personalities in there, but so far like everyone seems to get along and it makes me excited to come into work,
I
actually.
love that. I love that. And what about you, Morgan?
For me, I'd say challenging part, always like I'm one to be able to adjust, but just like it's always something new that might not be what it was the day before. So it's like, this didn't happen yesterday. So it's like, let me adjust. I have to like always adjust. So for instance, when we have games, we are supposed to have like a director on the feed that like counts us into the games and out
Mhm,
of the games. And sometimes you might not have that. So you have to like be like Dana was saying, you have to be your own
mhm,
technical director sometimes. So it's like, and some teams do a lot of different stuff sometimes, like how they count into the games. And so you
mhm,
might, and it's important for us, like it's that we catch like the primary feeds and stuff. So if we miss that, fans are engaged. And so they're like, that didn't happen right and stuff. So just being able to know you're not always going to expect what you always like go through in the day. Like it's always changing. So
Right, and
mhm,
learning how to like working in we kind of work in tech. So it's like
yeah,
we have to learn how to troubleshoot sometimes. Or do you
exactly.
have somebody to like let's say a button that you normally press
Mm.
is not doing what it's supposed to do, doing the effect it's supposed to do.
Yeah.
Do you have somebody to call, or are you supposed to know how to troubleshoot and fix that yourself?
And so that's when we have our engineers I was telling you about. Like
mhm,
Okay.
they'll always be like one to three people on call with us during those games, and we
mhm.
can go out to. And even if they can't necessarily get it, they'll have someone to call for themselves, like and then help us out. So that's always like a blessing. And then
That's
my
Yeah.
good.
favorite part,
That's
and then
good.
my favorite part, similar to Dana's, like the community. And just to add more into that, what being a people person, you and being around people that you like actually like as your coach, because everybody doesn't get along with their coworkers, but I
Mhm,
feel like we have that atmosphere where we're all like we love each other. It's like a great community. And just learn from other people because everybody comes from different walks of life. Some people have
mhm,
worked in different areas of sports for years, and I'm like, oh wow, like that's amazing.
mhm.
Some people did something completely different from sports and now they're working in sports. So it's just always amazing to hear stories from people.
That's
Some
so
people are
cool.
working, some people are juggling two giant sports company jobs,
Yeah,
the
that too.
the
So
NBA, some are working in the NHL, some are working in the NFL, some are working in MLS,
yeah,
MLB. So like they're doubling up.
That's insane to me when I hear that because I'm like, wow, like it's such a tough schedule. You're sometimes working 12 hours, but I guess you could, in a sense, have the two jobs because you don't necessarily work every day, so you could
Yeah.
like do something
exactly.
else on the days you're off.
And then some people work in the same day too.
Yeah, that's true. Some
Wow.
people
Yeah.
double shift it. And another great thing is that we're not full-time workers, we're freelancers still. So we don't have PTO. So like we could still like request off for days that we need for each month, like in advance. So that way, because they're very flexible with the schedule. So that's something that I really like about this job because the flexibility, it's great to have.
Working freelance, I used to look down on it at first because I was like, oh, like I don't want to work freelance. I want to have like a
Hmm.
steady full-time job. But working freelance is awesome because like you said, you don't really get PTO. You kind of work when you're scheduled and you can kind of kick
Hmm.
off when you want. So when I went to the Super Bowl, people were like, "Oh, did ABC send you?" I was like, "No, that was completely different." And I was able to go for 2 weeks because I'm freelance. If I was full-time, I think you have to wait for permission or like make
Mhm.
sure you have enough days to go. So working freelance is fun because you can do other stuff on the side. Like I work
Mhm.
in news, but my passion's entertainment. So let me do some entertainment on the weekends or whenever I
Right,
can.
right.
So it's nice. It's nice.
Yeah.
And from the
And
outside looking in, looking at the NBA, getting to hang out with you guys and everybody else, it's like, wow, like it seems like such a diverse company and diverse environment. I love that because you don't always see that working in TV. So to see other black
mm,
people, other people of color, it's like, okay, my cousin.
Yeah.
Do you have a favorite memory or event working at the NBA so far? Either in office, outside the office,
oh
Why
boy.
don't you stay?
the NBA party.
Y'all,
Holiday party,
y-
and Cervantes
y-
was there.
And I got
y'all
the Dana
already
invited
know.
me. It was so much fun. I got to go to the for those listening, I got to go to the NBA party in the December of last year, and it was so much fun. Kaylani performed. Did not expect that to be a special guest. I just had a great time. I really appreciate how warm and welcoming everyone was, and I feel like I'm an honorary member because
Yeah.
I know everybody now. So would you say that the NBA holiday party?
Yeah.
Y'all already knew what I
Yeah.
was gonna say before I even had to
Yeah.
say it. Um, getting
Yes.
getting getting to go to the holiday party with my friends as well was so surreal. Getting to see Kalani, getting to be in the second row with Savante, burger in hand,
You got
Kalani
to
on
meet
stage.
Kaylani, take a picture.
I got a photo with Kalani, which by the way, Savante was supposed to be in that photo, but someone slid
I
in
was
front of
Oh man.
like,
Kalani was
no,
taking a
the
picture with
amount of
us.
people that ran up to her, I was like,
Oh,
wow. You would think we were at a
A
concert.
real concert. I know Adam
yeah.
Silver was looking like, oh, okay.
Hmm.
People were swiping up on my story, like, are you at a concert? I'm like, no, this is a corporate event.
Like this is a professional event.
But for a good 20 minutes, we were at a
Hmm.
concert.
Right, right. And
Yeah.
that's what I was gonna say too. I love the perks of the job that come like, I'm like
Hmm.
looking
Me
forward to the
too.
next one. But yeah.
Same.
And it's like we get to see people that we never get to see on a daily basis because the
Mm.
NBA is like so freaking huge. So it's people
Yeah.
in different departments and then when you introduce yourself, they'll be like, what is that? Like, what do you do? And I'll explain it. They're like, oh, because I'm not to be funny, but sometimes people don't know when I say GDC, they be like, what's that? And I have to go on a whole spill. And they're like, oh, that's what you do. And it's so amazing. I'm like, yeah, like I'm doing this. And then like, what do you do? So it's amazing meeting new people though that you never get to
Mm.
see.
Yes. No, yes.
I agree.
I wish my job did that. We used to have company wide parties. Now we just have like Good Morning America will have their own. ABC News Live will have their own. But that'd be so cool if we all came together in one place. I would love
Yeah.
that.
You know,
But
NBC was
NBC
like that
didn't.
as well.
Oh, so
NBC did the
do
same
they have a
thing.
company wide or they have separate?
Separate. When I was working at MSNBC, they had one for specific like departments, and then like the shows, the bigger shows like Kelly, SNL, Jimmy, they would each have their own. So like it would be like in the middle of the work week in the middle of the day, from like 12 to 3, this would be like a holiday party. So
That's
people
so
would just leave and
interesting.
go.
Yeah, it's like wish we could all get together because then you meet more people, you get to
Mhm.
network.
But
It's a good networking opportunity.
it was
Well,
so
I
nice going to the NBA party because you really because because of all the people there and you got to see the trophy, you got to see Adam Silver. Um you know, that was pretty surreal seeing Adam Silver like standing right in front of me.
I was like, wow, you're a real person.
Yeah.
Not just somebody on TV. It would have been really cool to see the players. I was like, oh my, are we gonna see the players too? I wonder
No.
if they ever go. But I guess maybe it's hard because it's
I
like
feel like
they're
they would
sometimes
be
out of state or they may have a game.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I feel like a lot
It
of
was
them
so
would have a
cool.
game or be like bombarded. possibly. Well, I mean, NBA employees are very professional, but maybe sometimes like that they wouldn't travel all the way to New York for the holiday party unless if it was like New York Knicks or Brooklyn Nets.
Right. And then the time, it's like the time the party is, that's the time of a game.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
maybe security's too much. That's a
And
good
half
point.
of the people in our department actually had to stay behind and work that night, so they weren't even able to go. It
Hmm.
just comes with the job, you
Like
know.
our other friend Morgan.
Yes.
Yes. And what is your advice for those listening who want to work in sports production and media? I know we kind of alluded to it earlier.
I would definitely say my advice would be, like I said, like being persistent, and just understanding that you should always be trying to like perfect your craft. Like, so if you know it's something you want to do, try to always research it to see like what can you, like what's your skill set need to be, and then how can you obtain that goal. So like if it's like different events you need to go to, and like being on LinkedIn and everything, like always like research what you want to do, because it's always something to learn about that. We're in a field that's forever changing and everything. So like being hip to like what's happening will definitely help you to stay in the loop for what you want.
I totally agree. And what about you, Dana?
It's so easy to feel discouraged when you're applying to all of these big companies and you just keep hearing no, 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 no.
Mhm.
My advice would be really to join networking groups, go to networking happy hours. There's also I was also gonna say like when we're working at the NBA, something I'm noticing, like when we're working the studio shows, there are smaller production companies that are working the local studio shows for each team. So like if so I'd say like if you're let's say if you're a really big NBA fan, you really want to work in sports and you want to work something local. Like I know for Brooklyn, they have the Yes Network. Who works at the Yes Network? Our friend Jared. That's like a
Mhm.
smaller market production company, and that's just like one example. But um there are multiple production companies like that and all the other like NBA like team markets that we have. I think that would also be like a really good place to look in addition to, the NBA, MLB, NHL, etc. And also I was gonna say, looking for operator roles as well. Um, because there are a lot of operator tech roles that can look like right off the bat, like it could look like something like, I don't know if I'm really interested in it. Still apply anyway, because it might just
Yeah.
surprise you.
Put yourself out there for sure.
Yes, no, I
And
totally
then when
agree
you
with
get
that.
those roles, do not be comfortable. Do not get comfortable,
Hmm.
because even still in this role, I'm still trying to go to networking events because it's always bigger and better things. You know what I'm saying? So
Hmm.
yes.
Right, because eventually you want to evolve and do better. Like for me, it's like okay, PA now. I want to AP, produce. You want to work your way up, so you
Hmm.
constantly want to learn. I definitely agree with that. Definitely want to research the role so that when you get the interview, you know what you're talking
Right.
about.
Right.
Hmm.
And let's say you don't have the exact experience, or maybe you only have 75-80% of the experience. You can kind of
Tweak
tell the
it.
recruiter or the person hiring, hey, okay, I may not have or they may say you don't have the exact experience, but you have transferable skills. Try to
Yes.
sell
I was
yourself,
gonna say
present
that.
yourself in a way that's like,
Yes. Yes.
okay,
Exactly.
let's say for me, if
That's
I try to
major.
apply to the NBA, I've only worked in news, but I know how to do this, this, and that, and that
Hmm.
relates
Hmm.
to this NBA position. So you can kind of try to
Yes.
sell yourself on transferable skills. And then going back to what Dana said, mixers are so important. Dana has invited me to a bunch of mixers. I'm still friends with some people from those mixers from like 3-4 years ago. So those are really good. And I think something also you mentioned, yeah, don't be afraid. Man's rejection is God's protection.
Hello.
So when one door closes, another door opens.
Hmm.
I didn't get there's certain jobs where it's like, okay, I got denied for this, but then I end up going here. Or
Hmm.
I didn't get, I'll be transparent. I applied for Good Morning America last year to be a production assistant. I didn't get that job, but then a couple weeks later I got the Super Bowl. So it's like
Hmm.
I was really bummed out about this one job. Like, damn, like, how I don't get a job in a company I already work for, but then I get this really dope opportunity that not a lot of people get, and I got to learn so much. So it's crazy. It's crazy how it's like, wow, I'm not qualified for this, but somehow I'm qualified for this. So I think that
Hmm.
just shows that when one door opens, one door closes, another door opens. And
Hmm.
the rejection, you can't really take the rejection personal because you never
No.
know what you
Mhm.
might get with another company. So I totally agree with that.
Right.
I love that you said that, Savante, about the transferable skills because that's literally what I used in my interview. I had a panel interview with three people. That is literally what I used to sell myself because
Mm-hmm.
you and I we both came from working at MSNBC, working in news. So I was just kind of like, okay, I really want to learn more about the role to see like how I can kind of relate it to what I've done already, like working in the control room and working with, directors and ADs and stuff like that. That's a transferable skill like all throughout TV in general. And I was just really like fortunate to have that opportunity. But what you said about the other thing you said about rejection is like redirection. It's such a hard pill to swallow. As someone gone who's left a job that they really loved and they kind of had to struggle to find their next job. Like when I left Paramount, I was struggling really, really bad. It was a really low point for me. Like my grandma just died. I had lost my job, and then I just didn't know like where like my life was going, and I ended up working at a restaurant for like a year, trying to get myself back to where I want to be. And I kept thinking like, how come this job, how come I'm still not in this job? Why am I not working in this job anymore? Like, what's like the plan? Because like I'm really confused. And then all of a sudden, after a year of working on myself and working in a restaurant, then I come across an NBA and it's and it's just been a blessing. So
God is so
it may
good.
not
No, yeah,
happen.
I literally went. I was working NBC, and then I had to go back to Hollister and waiting tables, and I was a
Hmm.
barista for a little while. And sometimes those stories, I think people need to hear that because
Mm-hmm.
you only see people.
When
You know,
they get to that
we're
point.
not gonna post negativity, or at
Yeah.
least
Yeah.
I'm not. My friends are not gonna post negativity. We're only gonna post highlights. But I think sometimes we see those highlights as like, oh, this person just keeps winning. We don't
Yeah.
see the things that they go through
You don't
behind
see
closed
it.
doors. So
Right.
I love that. I love stories like that.
Nicki Minaj worked at Red Lobster.
Yeah,
True.
no, I was gonna say real quick, guys, like I'm set apart from you guys. Like I know you have like the NBC and everything and stuff. Like this is probably my first job in the career. So I had other stuff that's not necessarily like aligned with this, like police dispatcher. I was like working in restaurants and then
Wow.
even working as a guest services representative. So that just goes to show like you said, transferable skill sets. Like they can see from all of that though, communication works in a high paced environment and like multitask, like all those things can be into where you want it to be. Like so, even when sometimes people say, "Oh, you don't necessarily have the experience or the skill," it's like, yes, I do. Like I know what I'm capable of. And that's what you, like you said, like do not sell yourself short for sure.
Yes, and it's like yeah, if that one person says no, like, oh, I don't see it for them because they're doing this, somebody else is gonna be like, well, you know what? She has communication. She knows how to talk to
They'll
people.
see
She
it,
knows
and
how
you'll
to
probably,
handle multiple
yeah,
projects. So it's like just because one person didn't see it doesn't mean someone else can't. And
Mm,
let's say you didn't get the NBA this time, you may get it next year.
mm,
I think it's also about timing. Like
yes,
build
yes.
up your experience, do some freelance work or work somewhere else, get that experience, right? And then okay, you didn't get it in 2022, you may get it this year. You never know.
mhm.
Like so
You
I've
know,
been like that. I applied for my previous ABC role. I applied in 2022 during when we were at NBC and Disney was going through a mass like layoff and like hiring freeze.
mhm,
So it's not that I wasn't didn't get the experience, I just couldn't apply for jobs at that
Right.
time. Then I waited about 6 months. I applied for the same job and got it. So that was above me. I couldn't control that. It's all about God. So I think I totally agree with what you guys said.
it may not be
Long
on the
term,
timeline that you expected, but that doesn't mean it's not going to happen.
Exactly. Trust the
yes, you think that
process.
you graduate in May, you're supposed to get a job in June, and it's not always
Hmm.
it's not always like that.
Savante, there are some people at the NBA who applied for our job, interviewed, and then didn't get it initially. And then over like the first few months of us working there, we've had some people that quit or found like other opportunities or moved back home because a lot of people moved in from out of state for this job. And
Wow.
then we had like a few new people come in, and it was really like their time to start working, and it was something that they were waiting for.
Mhm.
So it was like pretty cool to see as
You
well.
never know. It's all in God's timing.
Delayed, not denied. Okay.
Oh,
Mhm.
amen. Long term, if you don't mind sharing, what would be a dream role of yours in the industry?
Acting and producing.
Okay.
Acting and producing. I'm someone that's always wanted to work in musicals, movie musicals. That is a ultimate dream for me. Um, like I absolutely love the musical. Oh my gosh. Well, I love Mamma Mia. Like I like a lot of, but that's just like one. That's like the first one I can think of, but it's not my absolute like top favorite. But like I just have like I'm just like a big like musical person. Like Wicked. Oh my God, went crazy on Wicked. Like that
Yeah.
would be my
So
absolute
Broadway, you would want
dream.
to work in Broadway.
No, I didn't say Broadway. I said like movie musicals.
Oh,
Like
movie
I love,
musicals. Okay.
yeah, but Broadway, I'm not opposed to Broadway. I would happily take like an opportunity there too. But I think like if we're talking like ultimate like dream, like that would be like the ultimate dream to be a part of something like that in front of the screen or even behind the screen too. Like that would be a dream.
We gotta manifest that. I love that. I didn't
Yeah.
know that about you.
For me, I would say community relations. I like the seg with the NBA. Like I would like the segue with working with the community and then the teams, organizing events, and then like just providing that sense of community where the kids and everything like you have like with Brooklyn Nets kids. I don't know if you guys are familiar with that, or New York kids, like
Mm,
how they do all of those
Yes.
events with the teams and stuff. Like I want to be a part of that.
That's
wow.
so
With
cool.
yeah, fan engagement and everything. Yeah, for
That's so
sure.
cool. We have like the Disney volunteers, and
Mm-hmm.
we'll either like visit schools or we'll like go to Central Park and do environmental stuff. And I would love to like do more of that, like do more volunteer work for the community. I love that. I love that.
Can I just say, I know I said my dream role, but like realistically, if that didn't work out like long term, I would love to like work in like social media for like TV shows and stuff. Like like the how people run like
Yes.
the Instagram accounts for like TV shows and stuff like that. Like I would love to like do something like that or work for like an entertainment media company that would like do coverage, like like the Met Gala and stuff like that. Like that would also be really cool working
Yeah.
in social
Oh,
media and stuff like
yes.
that.
Mm-hmm.
That sounds fun. Last question. As we are recording this episode on Tuesday, May 27th at 10:45 a.m., the Indiana Pacers are up 2-1 against the New York Knicks in the Eastern Conference Finals, and Oklahoma City Thunder is up 2-1 against the Minnesota Timberwolves in the West. Which team, well, I guess I already know, but which team or teams are you rooting for, and what are you guys' thoughts on the finals so far?
Go New
Start with
York, go
Morgan.
New York, go!
Hey.
Hey,
Orange
orange
and
and
blue
blue.
skies, baby. Orange and blue skies.
I definitely have a Knicks bomber jacket over there, and I should have bought it. I'm like, oh,
Oh,
about to
That would have been
like my
good.
puffer jacket.
oh my.
But
I
yes,
want
my
the. Yeah.
go ahead.
You go first.
No, I was saying definitely New York. And you said thoughts on the finals.
Yes, what are your thoughts on the finals so far?
The guys are working. They are going in. Okay, okay.
That
Like
last
the
game, ooh, I
My
was
God.
stressed. I was like, we gonna lose another one.
no.
But Cat brought
Bodies
it
are
back.
flying everywhere. Shout out to Josh Hart because Josh Hart, he's just hustling. Like he's like the Energizer Bunny, just nonstop, throwing his body everywhere. Good Lord, rebounds, rebounds. And then I
A
thought he
bunch of
hurt his knee for a
nosebleeds,
second.
face
Oh
split.
my
Oh
God.
my
Oh,
gosh.
No,
with
my
the
God,
face.
in the eye, 15 stitches in the eye.
But it was kind of fire though. I was like, this could be like
It
an
was.
album cover.
I would love for the Knicks to take it all the way. For some reason, that doesn't work out. I'll root for Oklahoma City.
I was just about to ask, okay, but like who will be their rivals on the West Conference? And I was thinking the OKC. Like, I don't
Yeah.
know. Okay,
Yeah, I've
they
seen a
playing.
mix. I've seen a mix of like New Yorkers and East Coast people saying like, okay, if the Knicks don't make it, I'm rooting for Edwards and the Timberwolves,
Mhm.
or I'm rooting for OKC. Why OKC?
I said OKC because after last night's game, I'm just like, you know what? Watching them play last night, they really deserved it. They played really well. They played really hard. As much as I love Dante DiVincenzo and Anthony Edwards, um, I feel like Oklahoma City Thunder, like the team just wanted it more. They wanted it more after last night's game. did Minnesota come back up? Yes, but they weren't able to really like get that lead. And then on top of that, Julius Randle, he only shot 15% of his shots last night.
Oh wow.
15%. So it was kind of like, huh? Like what?
Mhm.
Like with the game on the line, like with your season on the
Like
line,
what are we
like
doing?
y'all had the chance to
Yeah.
even it up.
Why are
Y'all
I
you
was
had the
gonna
playing
chance to
say
even it
tired?
up.
I could see the like the thirst, like everything like from OKC. Like I don't know. I like their drive. And I was
Yeah.
gonna
Shout out
say,
to Shy.
yeah, no, for real.
Yeah.
Shout out to Shy.
I was gonna be funny and say Isaiah Hartenstein, he played on the Knicks, so hey, it's a win is a win.
Yeah, yeah. That's also true.
So did Julius
Every
Randle,
single
but
every single player, I mean, every single team in the semifinals or the conference finals has former Nick.
right.
Every single
Wow, I didn't
So they
Obi
would
realize
be
that.
no
Obi
you
Toppin,
without
Obi
the
Toppin,
Knicks.
Obi Toppin,
Obi Toppin,
Julius
Julius
Randle.
Julius
Randle,
Randle.
Dante DiVincenzo, Isaiah Hartenstein.
Wow, I didn't even realize that. Oh, so it's something about the Knicks, something about New York. What do you think? So since we are, sorry for everyone else listening who's not a Knicks fan, but to just talk about the Knicks, what do you think the Knicks need to do to take it home, to win this next game and to just take it home?
I'm just so happy that they finally put in Wright and Shamit in game 3 because I just feel like they needed a switch up. I feel like Jalen Brunson, he's Captain Clutch, but like there are too many times where he's like holding the ball too long. And like I'd really love to see some like great like passing going around, trusting in the teammates to like get a shot. Because Josh Hart, he can hit threes. I've seen him hit 4 or 5 threes in one game. Like he was great. I was like, whoa, where was this before? Like every time I look at Josh Hart and he gets the ball, he gets it and he's like, oh my God, what do I do with it now? And then
Panic.
puts it away. So I'm just kind of like, damn, like they're really used to Jalen just like taking Jalen and Cat
Mm-hmm.
just taking all the shots. But then there was like then you have Landry Shamet, who's really a really good 3-point shooter, and he used to be over Clippers. And I remember there's a game where he shot. Actually forgot how many 3-pointers he hit. They were naming the game after him because that's how good of a 3-point shooter he is. And then Wright, he's just a really good 6'5" big like defender. I'm like, why have you guys been letting them sit on the bench? Because now like Boston was one
Yeah.
thing, but now like with Indiana, like the pace is so much faster, and like you need that defense if you want
Yeah.
to go any further. So
I definitely agree. Like Tibbs definitely trusted his bench in those like clutch moments where it was necessary. And just keeping their skin like I don't know, like they'll do so good, and then it's like a area where they're just like fumbling, and I'm like, guys, lock in. So, but definitely, it needs to be like Dana said, a lot of more passes, and just like trusting each other, like to I don't know how to explain, like just trusting each other, like moving the ball and making those free throws in the panicking moments. Because Indiana is a great rivalry for this, but Knicks, we got this, and we're gonna knock it out.
Yes. No,
yeah,
I didn't know the
yeah.
Pacers were that good. I was watching the game. I was like, whoa, I did not know. But yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I agree. I think the Knicks need to work on their defense. I feel like
Mhm.
Pacers have
Defense,
great
yeah.
defense. So Knicks need to work on that. I saw on social media Coach Tom was getting a lot of criticism. Do you think
Mhm.
where do you think the criticism lies with head, and do you think the criticism is warranted?
Yes, I think it is because when you look at the Pacers, like there were commentators in the past who were like, "Oh, the Pacers don't really have like a superstar on the team." Now they have like, obviously Halliburton, and he's kind of more like the face of the team. But the bench, like the rest of the Indiana bench, like I have been seeing more of them in one single game than I've seen Shamit or Wright or even Precious Achua the entire postseason. I've seen more of the Indiana bench in one game than I've seen our bench for like the almost the entire postseason.
Mm-hmm.
So like it's kind of like, why are you paying these guys, having them around, and you're not even
Utilize
playing
them.
them in games.
Yeah.
PJ Tucker too. I mean, I know he's a little older, but you threw him in there for like the last minute of game 6 in Boston. Like you threw them in there for the last minute. But even when they do use the bench, they use Deuce McBride and Campaign, and actually like Campaign. I know a lot of people don't, but using Campaign when knowing you have like also like Landry Shamet and Wright there on the bench, like it's only fair to give them a shot because I feel like Shamet has like you know, proved himself to be like a really good shooter over the years. So like I feel like Tibbs could have definitely switched up the lineup multiple times. Could have used after they made the playoffs, he could have used that time to really like experiment with the lineup because after that you already had the number 3 seed. You could have just like rotated guys in and out of the lineup. Oh my God, look at me talking about basketball for so
He said
long.
it right.
Who am I?
Who would have known?
Future commentator, future host. When I didn't know the Knicks haven't won since in 53 years, 1973. So
Yeah.
if they win, it's gonna be like Philly. New York is gonna
Oh
go
my God.
crazy.
It's a
Hopefully
parade
not
for
as
my
crazy as Philly,
city.
but we still gonna turn up.
Yeah,
No,
they already closed down. You see, like when you have to watch now in a designated
Yeah.
place. It's not
In a
outside
controlled.
the MSG anymore.
oh,
Yeah.
they changed
They
it.
shut
Yeah,
that
they
down.
did.
They say y'all did too much, y'all.
Yeah, they
Cause
had it
y'all
in
not about to mess up MSG. That's
Yeah,
like,
Radio
Radio City
City. Yep.
and Central Park.
Hmm.
That's
oh,
where they
okay.
had
See,
the
that
watch
makes
parties.
sense. It makes sense. Yeah,
Yeah.
you can't have all those thousands of
Because
people
it's too
outside.
much. It's too much. But you know what? When game 5 comes around, people people are still gonna be out there anyway,
Yeah.
coming out of
Hello.
MSG. You can't
New
stop
Yorkers
all of
You
don't
them.
know
You
you
can
listen.
can't
stop.
stop them.
You can
Yeah.
stop all of them, but
Yeah.
you
New
can
York
stop
City
a good
don't
portion.
listen. What? Have you guys been
After all
to?
that, I'm sorry. I quit.
After
No,
all
you
that,
good.
After all that.
Have you guys been to any watch parties or any of the New York City parties?
I
no.
haven't, but it was the day that we beat the Celtics. I happened to be in the city, like not expecting I would even be there that long. So I was like, oh my gosh.
It's like
Oh my God.
all these jerseys come out of nowhere, all this orange and blue,
I
People
was
were
in
mobbing. I was like,
and
wow.
they get there early.
Early. And then it was like, but you can see, like, if we knew it was going to be a blow, he was like, oh, yeah, we won. So people started leaving. So the let out
Mhm.
was just like, oh my gosh, like, oh yeah, like,
It's like the
that's
like
love.
now all of a sudden the train's gonna be delayed. You're not gonna get
Yeah.
home until a
Yeah.
certain time.
When the Knicks beat Boston for the second time, not the first, the second time I was in Yankee Stadium when it
Mhm.
happened. So they put it up. So they put it. We were in between innings on a break, and the entire crowd, I kid you not, was watching the game. No offense to the Yankees, but like I was watching the Knicks, you know. And we were watching the game on our phones. So like I was refreshing my score the whole game, and then all of a sudden I was like, damn, like we're about to lose this. And then I saw last minute it was 91-90. And I'm like, and
Wow.
the entire stadium of people erupted. There were people there in Brunson jerseys. There were people that got up and
To a
left to go to
baseball game.
Penn Station because they knew that 7th Avenue was going to be crazy. So like everyone was going nuts. Everyone was going
That's
nuts.
crazy. Wearing a basketball jersey to a baseball game.
Yeah.
That's crazy. But it makes sense because Yankees
Mhm. New
fans,
York, hey, represent.
right?
And can I just
Yankees
say
fans are
the
usually
sweetest
Knicks
part?
fans too.
Yeah, the sweetest part was that behind me, the row behind me, because I was there with other NBA colleagues as well. But the row behind us, it was just a bunch of guys talking smack about the Knicks because they were all Boston Celtic fans. Oh, it was so sweet. It was
The
so good.
tension.
It was so good.
No, but it
I was
makes
like,
sense
yeah.
though because I don't know like Mets. I think Mets there's I think it's half and half. Some of them are like Nets fans, some of them are Knicks. But I'd say
Mhm.
most Yankees fans are Knicks fans. So I guess it makes
Yeah.
sense that
Yeah.
they were wearing Brunson jerseys. And but even on TikTok, I saw people at the Cowboy Carter concert still watching the Knicks game on their phone.
They get it
So
like that.
it's
This
serious.
is history.
It is.
We don't know what's about to happen. We haven't even made this far since the Knicks haven't made this far since 2010, I think, if I'm not
No,
mistaken.
Yeah, it's a
2000.
2000, 25 years. Yeah.
2000. Yeah, so this is
I was
serious.
gonna say, regardless what, I'm just proud of the Knicks, like that
Me
they
too.
did make it this far, you know. But that don't mean don't win. You know what I'm saying? But
Yeah.
if in doubt, like
I have to know. I have to know what are your guys' thoughts? Not me asking the questions. What are
Ooh,
your guys' what are your guys' thoughts on the street signs that the mayor gave, like, the city of New York?
that's a
I thought
good
it was a
question.
little
I forgot
too
about that.
early. I thought it was too early when they did that.
I think it's a little too early too. I think that should have been done when you win, like when you win the
Hmm.
championship.
Kind of like a jinx.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I could have even been fine. Like if they won the Eastern Conference Finals, I would have been like, okay, that's pretty cool. I was just like, man, y'all, I'm like, man, y'all hate Boston so much. Y'all street signs.
I
Well,
like the street
listen,
signs, but
I
I
love it
think
though.
I don't
Yeah.
know. It's too
Players
early.
that did he players that Tibbs didn't even play the whole season got a street sign.
Listen.
It's like when they're making fun of Tyrese Halliburton when he was playing for the Olympics, like when you get an A for a group project but you didn't do nothing. It's kind of like that.
Right.
Yeah, it's a little too early, but maybe it's a good thing. Maybe that'll
Mm-hmm.
manifest,
Hmm.
a Knicks win, but
Manifest.
we'll see. Thank you guys so much for coming on the
Yes, thank
podcast. I really
you.
appreciate it. Any last words? Any advice or anything you want to say about the NBA or anything you want to promote that you have coming up?
Well, I would just say like thank you so much for inviting me to do this. I was like, oh, he thought of me. Wow, thanks.
Yes,
Um,
of course.
but last a few words, go Knicks. Okay.
Of
And
course.
then
Yes.
once again, like who I don't know who might be watching this and if you need to hear this, but once again, like just follow your dreams. Um, do not get discouraged by a no, and you will be where you need to be when the time is right.
Savante, thank you so much for having me. After 3 years of waiting, I am finally here on the
Why
podcast.
she put you on blast
Finally,
like that? 3 years? Come
not
on,
3 years. You
No,
funny.
no, for everyone that is watching, don't give up. Stay open-minded to new opportunities. Some they I know sometimes like things don't feel like they're going your way, but sometimes you just have to think outside the box to get yourself further. And even if it's something you never imagined doing, it could be something that'll benefit you for your dream job later on.
yes.
Um, and also, don't be afraid to put yourself out there and send messages to people to network. Um, your network really is your net worth, and
Okay.
it's something all three of us have have gone through in this industry, learning and meeting new people.
Now, at the end of every episode, I like to ask my guests a couple of rapid fire questions. So the first question is, what makes you laugh the most? Dana.
Why did I start laughing?
I said everything. What makes me laugh the most? I love a good like funny meme. Like I love going on TikTok and I just see like all of like funny comments. Like I love something that's just completely like out there that takes me by surprise.
Dana, get
Yes.
on my head. I was gonna say TikTok comments.
Oh my
Yes.
God.
They be funnier than the actual video.
Yes.
In their
No, it's so funny
stickers,
because
like
like I
I
was
be
so
feeling them
anti
stickers in the
TikTok.
comments.
I know they messed up adding that little feature where you can add pictures in there. They
Yes,
messed that up.
That new feature.
yes.
Okay, next question. Three things you're grateful for. Morgan.
Okay, question. Grateful for my life. Having great a great village that supports me. And then grateful for my thirst to always want to learn more. Like,
Mhm.
I
yes,
like
I'm
that.
grateful for that. My curiosity, is that what you yeah, curiosity.
Yes, I like that. I like that. And what about you, Dana?
I was literally gonna say the same thing. My life, my my support system, including my dog, and also my gift of communication.
Yes.
Mhm.
Okay. What would you tell your younger self? I'll start with Dana.
Um, when I was on my younger self, um, believe in yourself more. Start looking at networking events in freshman year of college, not senior year.
Yes. Yes, start sooner.
And
Yes.
and think start TikTok a year earlier.
Yes.
I started making TikToks in 2020, but I should have started in 2019, you know?
Yes. Because
Who
these
knows?
influencers, they're making money. I'm like, I should have picked
Mhm.
up the camera instead of
Yeah.
being shy.
Yeah.
Yes,
Like, oh my God, who knows? We might have gone to Streamers University even.
with
Hey
Kai.
man, not too late if y'all want to get on it. Hey.
That's true. That's true.
That's true.
What about you, Morgan?
For me, I would say don't be afraid to put yourself out there. And do not limit yourself to things. And oh my God, like Dana said, take advantage of those opportunities. Cause I think I was at a place where I was acting too cool for school. I'm like, I'll get there. No, do it now. Like if not now, when? So like yeah, take advantage
Yes.
of opportunities for
And to
sure.
add on to that, like put yourself out there because you never know who's willing to help you.
Exactly.
I forgot to mention earlier, but you know, b- people always say network. What does networking look like? For me, I would email. I still do it to this day. I email different people in the company and schedule like a coffee and chit chat with them, either on
Mm,
Zoom or in person. And I'll just pick their brain, like, hey, like, what have you done? Do you have any advice for me? And if I'm confident that day, is your department hiring? Like,
Hmm.
you're saying all this advice. This is what I've done. Are you hiring? And I've gotten a job out of that. So don't
yes.
be afraid. I don't know if everyone can do that, but try to reach out
Yeah.
to people in your company, see maybe if you can meet with them and ask them for advice, mentorship. Yeah, that's what I did. It has worked. So
I was gonna say real quick, even with that, guys, like like when you just assume somebody, like you'll talk to somebody and you'll just assume like, oh, they look like they can help me and stuff. Like, don't judge books by a cover because you can talk to someone randomly in the street. Like, just be kind to people, and they can have worked somewhere that you want to work for years, and you'll never know. So, like, don't be afraid to talk to people for sure. I
you
know it's
never
like a lot of people
know.
are nervous, but it's like you'll never know. Like one simple conversation, like a hi, how are you? And you might stand out to them and you'll just get to talking.
Where do you see yourself in 5 years? I'll start with Morgan.
5 years, I definitely see myself leveling up within the industry. Like I said, I do see myself. I feel like 5 years, the community relations, I would be like working with events more so, like being hands on with events rather than behind the scenes because that is something that I really want to do. Coordinating stuff with other people, and then hopefully, I might have a little leadership role with that. Like like putting out to people what to do and what we're gonna do. So yeah.
That's awesome. I can't wait for that. And what about you, Dana?
In 5 years from now, I see myself working in entertainment possibly again. Um, I would love to work on sitcoms as well. Hopefully leveling up from a production assistant role to like maybe like a coordinator or associate producer position, depending on um where I go from here. Um, and possibly not in New Jersey anymore, maybe like West Coast. That was always like a dream of mine to live in California since I was a kid and like work in Hollywood, stuff
That
like
would
that.
be
So I would love to,
insane.
yeah, I would love to like be working there by the time I'm 30.
Ooh,
Whoa.
ooh, that's coming
Ooh,
up. That's coming up.
that sounded
That's in 5 years.
oh my God.
That's
And traveling, I want to be
crazy.
able to travel and juggle work. Oh,
Mhm.
yes, continue to
Yes.
travel. Oh, yes.
We got to figure that out.
Hmm.
We got to figure that
Work
out.
life balance.
Yes. The last rapid fire question. What would you name this current chapter of your life? I'll start with Dana.
Mm, that was a good question.
Thank
Oh
you.
my
This one always
goodness, that
stumps
is such a
everybody.
good question.
Thank you.
I'm trying to like reignite like the spark that I felt like I lost in like the past like year and a half or
That's
so. So
deep.
like it's like I didn't mean to make it so deep, y'all.
No,
But
that's
it's true.
good.
Trying to reignite that spark and get back to who I am and who I know I can be. So
I love that. And what about you, Morgan?
For me, I had it in my head too. All that time I had to think. Um, I would say if I could give it two words, like buckling down. So for me, that would mean like really finding out because I know like ultimately what I want to do, but like how am I gonna get there? So buckling down and having that discipline, as far as like getting to those places and those doors I want to get into.
Thank you guys so much. Where
Thank
can everyone follow you
you.
guys?
Instagram and LinkedIn.
Right.
My Instagram is dana.nikki. Nikki spelled like Nicki Minaj, and then my LinkedIn is Dana Fields. Obviously.
Yes, awesome. Okay, and you, Morgan?
And for me, Instagram is M as in Morgan, and then 0.dollars, DOLLAS, three S's. And then Morgan Sheares on LinkedIn. Sheares is SHEARES, because some people don't know how to spell my last name. So there you
Yes.
go.
Awesome. And please comment down below if you're watching, listening, if you're watching the finals, who you're rooting for. Let us know in the comments. I can't wait to hear everyone's
I know they're
feedback.
gonna be in the comments like,
They'll be like, you didn't talk about you. Like, we're Knicks fans. Sorry.
Sorry,
Okay.
not sorry.
I'm gonna
Sorry,
say
not
I'm not
sorry.
even sorry.
Okay.
But this has been great. Thanks, Samantha.
Thank you,
Yes,
Savante.
and I want to hear from you guys. So if you're listening to this episode right now on a podcast platform, be sure to leave a rating on Anchor, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, or wherever you listen to podcasts. If you're watching this episode on YouTube, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and make sure you click the notification bell up top so you're notified whenever I upload a new episode. Thank you guys for listening. Have a good one.